Welcome back to Eliances Heroes, where heroes in business align. To be part of our super community and find out more about Eliances, visit www.Eliances.com. Now, back to our super host, David Cogan, founder of Eliances.
Can you believe what a morning it has been? I mean, we had the chief editor of Entrepreneur Magazine on. We just had Lawyer.com founder who also created a billion-dollar company, Mail.com. And just in our studio, we had the CEO of Radio Flyer, you know, the iconic American Little Red Wagon toy company. Well, listen up closely, all right, because we're going to talk about the four-letter word today, the one that makes everyone cringe. That's tax, T-A-X-X, tax. Why? Because our next hero helps people with getting through it. He is the founder and the CEO of Liberty Tax Service, one of the fastest growing tax companies in the industry. Ever hear of Jackson Hewitt? Well, he founded that one too. John Hewitt is our next hero. Now, John, my phone is blowing up here with texts as people want to know, what's the number one way to save on taxes?
Keep track of your expenses.
All right, keep track of your expenses.
Record keeping, good record keeping.
Excellent. And don't just like put it on a piece of paper. Should you be putting it on a computer and stuff?
As long as you have a record, we'll get it on your tax return.
Now, you're the most experienced CEO ever in tax preparation business, as you're the founder of two of the top three tax companies, Jackson Hewitt and Liberty Tax Service. How did you get into the industry?
I was blessed when I was in college. I was in school to be a mathematician, and even I don't know what a mathematician would do. And my dad wanted to be an entrepreneur, and so he called H&R Block and said, we'd like to buy a franchise in our city that didn't have an H&R Block. And they said, well, we're going to put a company store there, and maybe your son should take our course and see if he'd like to work for us. And I took the course, most interesting course I'd ever taken, and the rest is history. I managed 2 years later. I was managing a dozen stores, and 10 years later, I was managing 250 stores for H&R Block. And before I founded Jackson Hewitt.
I mean, you know, were you good in math in school? I mean, do you have?
I'm extraordinary in math. That's one of my many blessings. Is I'm incredible at multiplication, division, addition, those kind of math skills.
Now, you're a pioneer in the development and the use of specialized tax preparation software, too, which has now become the industry standard practice. You've accumulated 44 years of tax industry experience. I mean, did you ever think that you'd spend your career doing this in the tax industry?
You know, again, I interview thousands of people in my career, and I ask many. One of my favorite questions is, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And almost no one knows. And that's one of my many blessings. Is when I was 20 years old, I found out what I wanted to do. I took that tax course. I loved it. I loved everything about tax. I loved the math. I loved the complexity, arguing the gray areas, and I liked helping people. So those three things are a trifecta for me. Just made it incredibly rewarding.
And again, we're talking with John Hewitt, co-founder. You can reach him at LibertyTax.com. In fact, your company's grown to 4,300 Liberty Tax offices in the U.S. and Canada today. I mean, that's huge. And combined with Jackson Hewitt, I believe it's 10,000 tax preparation offices in the U.S. and Canada. I mean, how do you manage all of these franchises?
You know, you have to have good people, and every business, including radio, is all about having the right people, and that's the only secret is getting the right people and letting them run free.
Now you're listening to Eliances Heroes with me, David Cogan. Be a hero. Go to where entrepreneurs align. Be part of the community. That's Eliances.com, Eliances.com. And we've got the co-founder of Jackson Hewitt, John Hewitt, here with us. Now, 11 times you've been named to Accounting Today's list of top 100 influential people in the tax industry. What advice, you talked about your father a little bit. What advice do you have for children and maybe their parents listening now who want to know how to find out what they're good at and achieve their goals. I mean, you found what you were good at with math. You took it to an incredible level and stuff. What advice do you have for children or parents of others?
Well, basically, my advice to everyone is to find something you like to do, work hard, and persevere. They did a study at Princeton University in the 50s, and out of the graduating class, 80% went and got a job right away. 20% went to find themselves or hitchhike through Europe or something else, and the 20% that went looking for what they really loved. 25 years later, when they did a study, those 20% had a higher net worth than the other 80% that went out and just took any old job.
Interesting. All right. Now, I'm not going to ask you how long the federal tax code is. Let me make it like I'm a little smart here. Now, the federal tax code is 74,608 pages long. Why, John, would anyone want to do their own taxes and not hire a professional?
Exactly, David. Even if you get it right, and the temporary easy is the simplest form, and in the instructions it says that's one page, and the instructions are 27 pages, and it says in the instructions that the average person is going to spend 2 hours reading the instructions to do their tax return correctly. And even if you get it right, you know what? It changes every year. In 47 years of doing taxes, it's been different every year. And you know what? It's going to be different every year going forward. So it's why would you go through that?
Does it get more complex as year after year, or easier?
You know, there's been all kinds of movements for tax reform, tax simplification, and so forth. But every time they do that, it's a monkey wrench. It makes it more complicated.
Now, you've also, let's talk a little bit about your philanthropy, because you co-founded Stop Hunger Now, an international hunger relief organization. You also started Run for Food. I mean, based on this commitment to fighting hunger on a global basis, what's the best way for someone to make a difference in the world like you have?
Well, as I started to get wealthy, I felt that I felt called to help in hunger, and I'm so proud that I started Stop Hunger Now the same day that I started Liberty Tax back in January 1st of 1998, and 18 years later, we've given Stop Hunger Now has distributed over 200 million meals. We have 110 employees. It started with 2 guys, a Methodist minister and myself, that just decided to focus. So I think the key number one is to whom much is given, much is expected. You got to give back. And so you got to understand that, and then number 2, you need to focus. There's hundreds of great charities, heart and cancer and diabetes and et cetera, but you need to focus. So I intensify and focus on what my calling is.
Excellent advice, John. I'll tell you what, you're a pioneer in the industry. I mean, you've been the co-founder, Liberty Tax Service, CEO and founder of Liberty Tax Service. And also, I mean, with John Hewitt, Jackson Hewitt, we've got John Hewitt here. You've overcome roadblocks. You've employed many and helped millions with something very few really don't like to do, and that's the taxes. A hero is someone who sees the possibility and makes it a reality. John Hewitt, you're a hero. You can go to LibertyTax.com. Also go to Eliances.com. We'll have the information posted there to be able to reach John. This is David Cogan with Eliances.
You have been listening to Eliances Heroes, where heroes in business align. Eliances is the destination for entrepreneurs, investors, CEOs, inventors, leaders, celebrities, and startups. To present your superpower, visit www.Eliances.com. To unmask Eliances Heroes' secret identities, be sure to tune in every Thursday at 9 a.m. right here on Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM.